Hello everyone. The US is one of the biggest producers of amazing comedy in the world, which makes people forget that there are other places in the world that produce great comedy as well. One of these places is the UK. The UK has produced some of the greatest comedians that the world has ever seen. 6 of these comedians that they produced formed one of the greatest and most influential comedy troupes that has yet to be topped off. This group is none other than the surreal comedy troupe Monty Python. The comedians of this group are John Cleese, Graham Chapman, Michael Palin, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Terry Gilliam. Before I talk about how they influence comedy, I must talk about how these 6 interesting characters met and formed Monty Python. Palin and Jones met at Oxford University, where they performed together with the Oxford Revue. Chapman, Cleese, and Idle all met each other at Cambridge University, with all of them being members of the Cambridge University Footlights Dramatic Club. Cleese met Gilliam in New York City while on tour with the Cambridge University Footlights Revue Cambridge Circus. The 6 Python members appeared and or wrote for various British radio and comedy television shows from 1964 to 1969 before they created Monty Python's Flying Circus. One of these shows was BBC's satirical television show The Frost Report, which is credited as first uniting the British Pythons and providing an environment in which they could develop their particular styles. Chapman and Cleese were eventually offered a show by the BBC, which had been impressed by their work on The Frost Report and At Last the 1948 show. Cleese was reluctant to do a 2-man show for various reasons. With his found memories of working with Palin on how to irritate people, he decided to have him join the team. Palin agreed to join them and suggested the involvement of his writing partner Jones and colleague Idle, who in turn wanted Gilliam to provide animations for the projected series. All of them would not know this at the time, but they all would embark on creating the most influential and greatest comedy show of all time, which is Monty Python's Flying Circus. The Pythons had a definite idea of what kind of show they would make with various inspirations in mind. They took inspiration from the satirical British comedy stage revue Beyond the Fringe, whose members were Peter Cook, Alan Bennett, Jonathan Miller, and Dudley Moore. They enjoyed Cook and Moore's sketch show not only, but also. The Pythons had one problem with these types of shows, and that was even though the body of the sketch would be strong, the writers would struggle to try to find a good enough punchline to finish it, and this would detract from the overall sketch. They decided to not bother ending their sketches in the traditional manner, and the early Flying Circus episodes made great play of this abandonment of the punchline. While they started to assemble material for the show, the Pythons watched one of their collective heroes, Spike Milligan, whom they admired on The Lagoon Show, recording his groundbreaking BBC series Q5. Not only was Q5 more irreverent and anarchic than any previous comedy show, but Milligan would give up on sketches halfway through and walk off set. Terry Jones was determined that the Pythons would innovate and be original with their own sketch show. It was Terry Jones' idea to incorporate Terry Gilliam's stream of consciousness style of animation into the show so 2 unrelated sketches can blend into one another. With all these inspirations and their respective comedic talents, the Pythons created one of the most groundbreaking and influential comedy shows of all time. The Pythons showed that you didn't have to only laugh at everyday situations, you could also laugh at surreal, silly, witty, subtle, dark, and satirical jokes as well. After 4 seasons that ran from 1969 to 1974, the Flying Circus ended, but the Pythons continued to create comedy under their name that came in the form of movies. The first original movie that they created was Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which came out in 1975. The next one, titled Monty Python and the Life of Brian, came out in 1979. And their final movie, titled Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, came out in 1983. These movies were also very influential as well. Sadly, though, the Pythons do not create anything original anymore due to the death of Graham Chapman that happened in 1989. And also, earlier this year, we lost Terry Jones from Alzheimer's disease. Despite this, the Pythons' influence and legacy lives on. They have had one of the biggest influences in comedy history, with influencing Sacha Baron Cohen, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, Patton Oswalt, Jordan Peele, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth MacFarlane, Rowan Atkinson, Seth Meyers, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Vernon Chapman, John Lee, Mike Judge, Matt Groening, Vic and Bob, Mike Myers, Lorne Michaels, Weird Al Yankovic, John Oliver, Tina Fey, Jim Carrey, and the list goes on and on and on. Well, we have come to the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. If you like this video and want more like it, make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. I'm Vaughn Wesley, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.